Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. It's time to continue on the Citroën Mehari project. I am in the progress of dismantling the front axle because I want to paint the swing arms, I want to change the bearings, maybe, I haven't decided, but I would like to take everything apart and clean it up so I can paint it, just like I did on the rear one. The middle section got all the steering components in there, so I'm not gonna sandblast that because I'm not gonna completely take it apart because it's completely fine. I have never seen a 2CV steering rack with that little play in it because it doesn't have any play. So I'm just going to clean that up with a wire brush and paint that as well. But I will start by removing the kingpin on this swing arm so I can sandblast that. This thing right here is a cap that is screwed into the hub right here. Behind that is a kingpin that goes all the way through, just like an old school horse carrier, pretty much. It is supposed to be possible to just screw it out, but I have never experienced that to be possible. So the way I normally do it is with a hammer and a chisel. I already bought new caps, so I'm just gonna change them. I actually forgot to buy for the other side, but I think I will need to buy more parts along the way anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But by just hammering a chisel into the side of the cap like this, it will loosen up like that. Then we can take this the rest of the way. There we go. On the other side, there is just a cap that is hammered into position. To remove that, I take a piece of threaded bar in this instance, but the most important bit is that it fits inside of the kingpin up here. And then we can just force it down. The reason why it's tough to get in here is because it's full of grease, so it's pushing it out. There we go. That was a tough one. It's just a cap like this that is down there. So next up, I need to push out the kingpin. I will do that in the press. It's possible to just use a hammer, but the chances of damaging the kingpin and getting it stuck in there is rather high. I am hoping to reuse the kingpin, therefore I'm going to try to do it as carefully as possible. And for the purists, there is a special tool for this, and this is not it, but it should work. With this amount of pressure that is needed right now, it's 8 tons at the moment. I'm just gonna put some stuff around in case something explodes. There we go, something gave in. Hopefully it was the right thing. It seems to be. And there we go. Can't go further with this thing to push at least. Maybe this one can take it the rest of the way. Yeah, looks like it. Just gonna put the blanket underneath to catch that kingpin so it doesn't get wrecked on the floor. There we go. There are some spacer rings somewhere. They're glued together with that part right now. There we go, one piece of kingpin. This is what's doing the job of ball joints on normal cars, on a 2CV or Mehari. There are some greasing points. Grease will go in there and get out and come out of those holes and lubricate the inside. So it consists of this and then some bushings on each side of it up here. I think this is good enough, and I hope I don't have to change them because I would like to keep the cost down a little bit, but I will have to inspect them further. For now, I'm just going to install it back in. Oh, it's the other way around to keep track of it, because this part of the front axle will be dealt with later. Then I would like to just take out the knife edge. There we go. Believe it or not, this is the knife edge that this part of the suspension pivots on when the 2CV Mehari goes up and down. It's just grinding away on a piece of metal like this. This is a spot that needs to be lubricated from time to time, but you don't have any greasing possibilities or greasing nipples or anything. You'll just have to go in there and lubricate it from time to time. Not everyone does that, and as you can see, it will wear through this at one point, and then your 2CV is going to collapse. I have never heard about it actually happening, but you need to lubricate this area. And on the steering axle, or steering, yeah, it's the axle, but the steering rack is inside the axle. I want to take off these. I've already taken one of them off. As I told you, I'm not going to put this in my sandblaster because I don't want crap into the mechanism in here. But I want to take this one off. And I might have to change the rubber down here as well, now that I'm in here at least. The way I'm going to do that is with a ball joint splitter. That is not the right tool either, and there is a correct tool for this as well, of course. Like that. Also, the rest of the old bearing needs to come out, because I'm going to change them completely. There we go. I'm not sure I'm going to get this one off without cutting it. I do need to change the clamp down here, so I need it to come off. But I'm afraid I will have to actually cut it off and remove it with a puller. But for now, I'm just going to give it some lube and hope I can take it off a bit later. It is a bit later, so let's give it another go with some brute force and hope that it will shift. I'm trying to keep the heat away from the seals, which most likely won't work, but I'm going to at least do an attempt to protect it. It's just not coming off. It is. It's freaking moving. And it's really hot. Whew. There we go. That was a tough one. Most likely would only last a couple of seconds, this bit, but it took a bit longer. This part I will clean up using a wire wheel. It won't be perfect, but it will be good enough. The best thing, of course, would be to strip it completely and sandblast it. But I don't really see any good reason for that other than to paint it real good. But I'm pretty sure I will wreck so much stuff along the way. So I'm just going to do it like that. And after a while, it is possible to get a pretty decent result using a wire wheel. It's just more work than with the sandblaster. Quite dusty, if you can see it. I'm gonna go a bit further and then paint this thingy up and go ahead and sandblast the other parts. I already started sandblasting this part, and as you can see, I'm not completely there yet. And by the way, take a look at this, the welding quality at Citroën. But a bit more of this, and that's good to go as well. So a tiny amount of progress was made on the Mehari. This will have to dry 24 hours, then I would have to paint it twice with the top coat with 24 hours in between. So it takes around 3 days before this is ready to be reassembled. But this will be all for this video. I am undecided whether to change bearings on these because maybe they will be all right. But on the other hand, maybe it's a stupid thing to not do now when I have it in my hand. I don't think I'm going to change the kingpins though, because they seem to be just fine. And each and every time you push out the outer bushing, you wear on the material, and in the end you will have to go to an oversize. So if they are all right, I don't see any reason why to change them. But the bearings, well, maybe. This one is a bit, maybe I should change them. But that will be in a future video, because the next video on the Mehari at least will be putting this back together and onto the chassis. And then I want to rebuild and disassemble the spring pots, the spring container thingies. I want to take them apart, clean them up, paint them, and weld a new end on them because it's pretty rusty. And yeah, that will be in the next video. I know this was a short one, and I know I haven't made a lot of videos through the last week, but because I am trying to make a living out of all this, I am doing quite a lot of stuff to other cars that are not video related, unfortunately. But don't worry, I will be back at the projects at one point. It will just sometimes, I will just have to take a little break from time to time to make a living. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.